It is the path to limitless expansion. And it's a sacred initiation to rewire, rise, and remember who the F you are.
Tisha Marie Cain is transforming lives through subconscious rewiring, radical responsibility, and the courage to remember who you truly are. A disruptor, a rebel, a healer, redefining transformation. Your unique method that you have. Tell us about that and what you're up to.
Anything that puts us in a box keeps us stuck. And I cannot be contained, Shawna. Like I need to be, do not put me in a box because I will. I try to work outside the systems and the boxes and expand our consciousness for nothing other than living out our waking dream.
Take me back to your lowest point, Tisha. What was happening in your life when you realized what you were doing wasn't working?
My 3 children were legally kidnapped from me through the family court system. And I was walking through the house, and when I could no longer walk, I collapsed to my knees. I said, God, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on, God, but this is not the life I thought I chose. When I took radical responsibility, that's when things got exquisite. Healing is in the doing. We can create heaven on earth. What you focus on grows.
Hello and welcome to Radical TV. I'm Shawna Smith. Joining us here today is Tisha Marie Cain. Hello, Tisha. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you, Shawna, today?
Good. I am super excited to chat with you. Tisha Marie Cain is a private counsel, an expert mediator, executive mindset coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and multiple #1 bestselling international author and artist who works with Fortune 500 executives, visionary leaders, and high-performing entrepreneurs. She specializes in helping leaders and their teams to rewire their subconscious, release emotional weight, and elevate their relationship with money, power, and self-worth, unlocking the mindset required to drive influence, seize opportunity, and sustainable strategic growth.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know, that's what I said. I was so excited to chat with you because it is a lot.
Which is great. You know, when you have someone read that back, you're like, whoa, that's cool. That's really cool.
I want to first chat with you on your unique method that you have with the Radical Company. Tell us about that and what you're up to.
Yeah, so my unique method is I have a few actually, but the one that's real close to my heart is Transcend. It is the path to limitless expansion. And it's a sacred initiation to rewire, rise, and remember who the F you are. It was not really F, but I say F because I'm a disruptor and I'm a rebel and I like to use the F word for context. So, I'm currently, I have probably about 7 clients that I'm taking through this unique method right now, and it's really transforming their lives. So I'm really excited about where they have been and where they're going through this process. And it's just evident too also that frameworks work, if you work them.
Yeah.
Right. So
yes.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with this Transcend. It's the path to limitless expansion. And so where my mind was at when I was creating this was like, I love expansive consciousness. I love being able to think outside of the box. Anything that puts us in a box keeps us stuck. And I cannot be contained, Shawna. Like I need to be, do not put me in a box because I will see myself out. So what I do is train my clients too to say, okay, if you're putting yourself in a system, any kind of system, religion, medicine, governmental systems, if you're putting yourself in a box and labeling that, then you're kind of confined by those system and those rules. And so I try to work outside the systems and the boxes and expand our consciousness for nothing other than living out our waking dream.
I was just having this conversation with my sister the other day regarding what her daughter was going to do. And I'm like, hey, like, don't put those limitations. Just leave that off. You don't know what could happen. So I love, love, love what you're doing. Tell us what step one of your method would be.
Yeah, it's transcend the subconscious mind. So T for or transcend, transform the subconscious mind. So I take each letter in the word transcend and then I put it through one of my modalities. And I have a toolbox of modalities to help you live your best life. And so that first one is transforming the subconscious mind. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and I use hypnotherapy to go back to the root cause of whatever your core belief is, your limiting belief. We go back to that root cause, neutralize it, and then bring it back through today. So transforming and rewiring the subconscious. I did it, and I didn't believe in the power of hypnotherapy until I was open and ready to transform. I remember sadness was my flavor. And so I used hypnotherapy to neutralize sadness at the core root. And that was when I anchored it in at 3. And after I did a hypnotherapy appointment, I knew that I had to learn this modality. And I flew to Australia. I stayed in Australia for a month to become a clinical hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner. And that just soared because I thought, okay, I'm here in America. How can I help save the American people? And I believe it's through hypnotherapy. If you're ready, we can transform the subconscious mind.
How long does it take?
It can go, it's so funny. Everyone thinks when after their hypnotherapy appointment, they think it's only been 10 minutes, but it normally takes about 45 minutes. I don't keep people down for more than 2.5 hours. That seems to be the sweet spot where I found after that. It's not as transformative as in those first initial segments of their hypnotherapy. But yeah, anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes is the sweet spot.
And who specifically do you work with?
Oh man, my avatar is huge. Like I have a 16-year-old girl that comes to see me every week, and I have an 83-year-old grandmother that sees me. I work with a lot of athletes, interesting enough. I believe that the athletes have solved the problem of the body. And so they come to me to help them solve the problem of the mind. And I don't believe that there's really any problems. There's opportunities to grow. So how can you live your best life if you've already worked on the body? You're an athlete. Now let's come and do some mindset coaching to really do some reality creation to live out your best life. So that's, I work with anybody and everyone. I guess my best client is one that says, you know what? I've tried it all but hypnotherapy, and I'm hoping that this will work. Well, heck yeah, let's go. And I'm like, yeah.
So some of them have done a lot of work and it's not really getting them where they want to be.
Right.
Wow.
And that's why I believe this is total transformation. And I've seen it happen time and time again where they're like, Tisha, you changed my life. And I say, no, you had the courage to step up and try something different and new and holistic. No more systems, no more medicine, no more pills, none of that. And we can do this holistically by transforming your subconscious mind. And they didn't believe it, but one session, even though I like my clients to come back and over and over again, as much as Shawna, I love slowly learners and deep pockets. I love those guys. The reality is I really believe in the silver bullet, one hypnotherapy appointment with me, people have just shaken out their whole entire life. And I have testimony after testimony on like, wow, one appointment can do great. And if you do 12, you're just, on the road to greater and bigger and much, much more.
Give us an example of one of your clients who's gone through this and you saw the transformation.
Whoa. Okay. So I currently have a client who is up in Washington State. I'm here in Central San Joaquin Valley in California. She's in Washington State. She used hypnotherapy about 10 years ago to stop smoking. And it was transformative for her. So once she realized that I am number one leading clinical hypnotherapist in California, and she was born here, she physically drove to California, made an appointment, physically drove here and came here. And what we, after the start of the session, what we realized was that she had some feelings of not good enough. And so I work with the 6 major emotions: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, not good enough. And those 6 major emotions, we don't have to do 6 appointments for those 6 major emotions. Typically, what I've seen in the past is if you unravel one major emotion, another one goes away with it and neutralizes. So we started with her on not good enough. And it's just, I'm a master intuitive, so I can go in and check where you're blocked in your chakras. It's kind of woo woo and good. You know, I got one foot in the woo woo and one foot in grounded in planet Earth. And so I could see where she was blocked within her body's chakra system, and it was not good enough. So what we did, she had about a 90-minute hypnotherapy appointment, and she went back to the root cause of not feeling good enough. And she realized at that moment, she had anchored in this belief system. So I took her back on her timeline into the past, and every part on her timeline where she felt not good enough, we brought it up, looked at it. Maybe it was a time, she said, when she was riding her bike and she was learning how to ride the bike and she fell off. Well, then she anchored, oh, see, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to do this. And then back still again, maybe learning to swim or whatever. So we went back on her timeline, back to the root cause of where she anchored and not good enough. And she was 3. It was funny how this human brain works. And so we neutralized that with hypnotherapy, came and neutralized all the other points along her timeline into today, and gave her the resources under hypnotherapy. This is what I do as your practitioner, as your coach, is give you as much resources as you need, as that little girl needed back then, to be able to neutralize that and clear it out once and for all. And she did exactly that. When she came to, she didn't realize that what she saw in that scene was embedded in her subconscious. She remembered it now consciously. Before the appointment, she didn't remember consciously. So we went back subconsciously and it was bedded in. So she brought it out and she says, holy smokes, I remember that now. And that's where I anchored it in. By the time she left my office, Shawna, she was seriously, we were laughing because she was like 2 inches taller. She was like, really, I'm like, girl, you're taller. She goes, I feel lighter. I feel like released from this not good enough. And I'm like, okay. So in hypnotherapy, it's like the first 3 days after hypnotherapy, your subconscious is wide open. So I tell them, the next 3 days are going to be pivotal. So as you go to sleep in your sleeping world, think about some other questions you want to get out of that scene, and just be wide open and look for the synchronicities. And then day 2, the subconscious mind, day 1, it kind of closes, but you're wide open after this. So just notice. Just notice what's happening. So she goes back up to Washington, and she owns 4 ice cream trucks. And okay, Washington is a rainy state. Let's be real. And the not good enough is gone. She's blowing out the doors of her ice cream trucks. She's having to have one ice cream truck come over and fill her ice cream truck because she's selling out of ice cream. And I have text messages after text messages that a retirement center just hired her to come every Tuesday so the little people can come out like they did when they were kids and order the ice cream from the truck. So they want her ice cream truck there every Tuesday, I think it was. And then they come out and order. So she's getting her ice cream trucks are getting booked across Washington. And it's rainy there. Like they still want ice cream. I was like, this is crazy. Crazy good. And then the concert in the park booked her, and they want her there every Thursday. And they're on the mic like, oh my gosh, the ice cream lady's selling out. And so she's just soaring and stepping into creating the reality of her dreams. And she didn't know that, she believed that there was something more, but didn't know how she can access it until we neutralized that major emotion. And she's soaring. and she's so happy, and
Mm.
her skin looks younger.
Mm.
She looks more vibrant,
Mm.
and I just congratulate her because she
Mm.
acted, and she drove all the way down here for a session with little old Tisha Marie Cain, and we transformed her life. It was so good.
You really did. Can you do it online too?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I have clients in Guadalajara, Chile, Canada, France, Australia. So we do it via Zoom, and I've even seen a lot more results on Zoom. Is because Shawna, you could be back there on your sofa there. All I have
Mhm.
to do is see watch the sensory acuity of your face.
Mm.
So you just put your laptop next to your face so I can watch how deep you go into hypnotherapy.
Mm.
And because you're safer, no one's there, you're on your own sofa, you have your own blankets, you have your own things. I've
Mhm.
seen more transformation via Zoom than I have in my office.
Wow.
But I like it in my office because I can hug and squeeze you, and I do hug therapy and all the things. I'm a touchy-feely type person. But Zoom is so transformative.
Yeah. That's fabulous. What's the biggest lie, Tisha, that your target audience has been told about this industry that you discovered is basically totally false?
Mm. The biggest lie they've been told about hypnotherapy is like, it's I'm a godly woman and hypnotherapy, it's mind control. No, it's false. And the more education, I mean, I've 17 years of college. Okay, I'm done with school. My family said, Tisha, there's been a lot of input. It's time to start doing some output, right? So I believe in education. And so typically that lie is like, no, hypnotherapy is not mind control. You're in control the whole entire time. I just put you into a trance. It's like meditation, prayer. It's the same thing. If you pray, that's meditation, trance, same thing. And then I also tell them, it's like, do you know, Shawna, like when you're in your automobile and you're traveling from point A to point B and you get to point B and you're like, oh, darn, I don't even remember those words, or I don't even remember those streets that I took, but I'm already here. Do you recall doing that? That's
Mhm. Mhm.
hypnotherapy. The roads are
Mhm.
hypnotizing. So that's why
Mhm.
I love, like if I'm going through a challenging time, which isn't a lot these days, but I'll just get in my car and drive because I go into a hypnotic state, and then
Mhm.
that's where I can download all of the answers straight from God, or I pray to Gus, God, universe, and spirit through hypnotherapy through the roads. But I'm just a coach, I'm just a facilitator walking you back in time, but you're in control the whole time. So the more education we get, I'm like, use ChatGPT, use all the AI, educate yourself before you start putting yourself into this hypnotherapy is mind control, because it isn't.
No, you're right. Exactly. What's the real cost when people believe this lie?
Yeah, they're stuck. They remain stuck. And
Mhm.
I don't judge anybody. I can't judge because I was there. I remained stuck until I was just sick and tired of myself. I was sick and tired of hearing the stories of I was a victim of domestic violence. Now I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And now I'm kicking the court's butt. And it's just like, who cares? Like, I was sick and tired of those stories. So I was stuck for a long, long time. And so
Mhm.
if you're ready, that's my client. When you're done, when you're sick and tired of yourself, come see me and we're going to rewire everything and like point you in the right direction.
Take me back to your lowest point, Tisha. What was happening in your life when you realized what you were doing wasn't working?
Ooh, I just had full body chills. You know what? My lowest point were when my 3 children were legally kidnapped from me through the family court system. And I was walking through the house, and when I could no longer walk, I collapsed to my knees. My kids were ripped out of my arms for allegations alone. I had no trial. The family court was a anti-family court system, and they took away my 3 children, and I collapsed on the ground. And it was at that moment I began to pray. And I
Hmm.
said, God, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on, God, but this is not the life I thought I chose. But what I do know is when God gives you the feather and you don't listen, God gives you the truck. And if you don't listen, or God gives you the feather, you don't listen, God gives you the brick and you don't listen. And then if you're still not listening, God's going to run you over with the truck. And that's how it is. And so I got ran over with the truck because I was so out of alignment with who I was as a person, who I was as a being, that God's like, hello, aren't you going to wake up? And so I had to kneel to my knees and start praying and realize that I was at the effect of my life and not at the cause of my life. And then when I took radical responsibility, that's when things got exquisite.
How did you stumble upon this discovery?
I just knew I was suffering, and I kept saying there ought to be a better way. And I remember writing a college paper about there ought to be a better way. I'm like, there ought to be a better way. This isn't the life that I want. And I signed up for law school. I was able to pass the LSAT. People study for the LSAT for like 6 months. I studied for 2 weeks and got it and passed. It was at the highest of my class. Went to law school to understand and comprehend what the laws were. And then I still just felt so sad about the systems and what they were doing to me until I was like, okay, I need help. And I hired everyone that I could hire to get me. I had therapists, I had psychologists, I had psychiatrists, I had an EMDR counselor, I had a life coach. I had 14 pills on board every day until finally I said, I need help and I'm willing to pay whatever I need to pay to not have me feel the way that I am feeling now. And all of a sudden, hypnotherapy dropped in and I was like, could this work? And it did work on the sadness. And then I did all the other major emotions. And then I transformed from there. And then that led me to transform into transcend. And how, oh, wow, like I've done this. Yes, I've had to hire people to get me to the next level and invest in myself. I don't know if you know anything about astrology, but I'm a Virgo. So Virgos are very highly driven. And, a lot of this stems from, me being a middle child also and having to hustle for my worth. But Virgos are very driven. So I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheets. And I was looking at that. I've already invested $364,000 into my own personal growth and development because I was willing to feel something different than sadness. And so now I'm like, okay, how can I've always been a preacher and a teacher. How can I preach? How can I teach this in a way that's a digestible way for the common person can get it? It's really simple. Go to page 15, pull it up, read it, and do the thing. Do the thing. I say this, act and God will act. You have to do the thing. And I'm the queen of taking radical, messy action. Just do something instead of sitting down and not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's your tiny book that you just showed us.
Yes. Yes, this is my tiny book, Transcend, the Path to Limitless Expansion. It's I got an award for #1 best-selling business and coaching small reads. I say, get the book. It's $8 on Amazon. Act like you invested $800. Because if you haven't fixed your relationship with money, then come on back. We could do that too. You have a relationship with money. And if you're not making the money that you're supposed to be making or believe that you deserve, then you need to do some hypnotherapy on money, magic, and mindset. And it works every time.
Mm-hmm. So someone listening here today, the first step is get your book, get a hold of you. Anything else they should do right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, people think that because it's $8, like this can't possibly transform my life. That's why I'm like, get the book and then act like you invested. We don't spend money. We don't spend time. Spending is waste. We invest, right? I invest time with you. I invest. So act like you invested $800 in this book and do the thing. Do the thing. And then at the end, it's other ways to work with me, one-on-one coaching. We can do a 6-hour deep dive. And then I'm also available for 3-day immersion experience. And that was great. I had a client fly me out to Montana And she invested in the Airbnb, the food, and I just threw everything in my toolbox at her. And she just, I collapsed time. So when you come into my energy, I'm going to give you 3 years of information. And when you leave, you're not going to be 3 years older. That's what's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding. And what is one of the biggest mistakes people make when they first get started in this kind of work?
They don't pour gas on the fire. Like, are you going to have this take healing doesn't have to take 5 years. We can go in and laser focus, go right to the core belief, the root cause of that limiting belief or that major emotion, and get it done now. And so that's the biggest misnomer is like, oh, this is going to take forever. No, it ain't. Let's go. Like, I don't know. Nothing takes forever. Like, I want, I act like a little brat sometimes because I want what I want when I want it, because I know reality creation, right? So if I have to wait, I get a little grumpy. And if, like if you're pitching to me and selling me something and you make me wait, I'm moving on, right? So it's like do something. It doesn't have to take forever.
I love that because, I hear of people who spend years in therapy and years doing the work, and they're not exactly where they want to be. So this is really, really exciting to hear.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just, who knows? It's just my opinion. And about opinions. But my opinion is this. I spent years in therapy and I had it all. Psychologist, psychiatrist, EMDR specialist, best friend, all that's therapy. Well, what they were doing is they were keeping me looking in the rear view mirror of my life and hashing over old wounds and looking at all. I don't want to look at the rear view mirror of my life. I want to look at the windshield of my life. The windshield is big for a reason. So with hypnotherapy, I don't care what happened in the past, whatever. You created it all. And once you realize you created all the trash, I created it all, you come from an empowering space. Now we look out the windshield and say, okay, whatever you focus on grows. So what's your biggest dream? And then everything that you do, wealth is one of my top values. Everything that I do is working towards wealth, family, health. And I just keep them looking in the rear view of our lives. And the therapists were keeping me looking in the rear view mirror of my life. So I just change it around and transform lives if that's what they want.
Wow. Paint us a picture of success. When someone goes through your complete method, what transformation can they expect? I mean, I can already kind of envision this, but.
Yeah. I have so many success stories. And I say that with a humble heart, because I'm just so grateful to be able to serve at bigger levels. And I've seen it all, really. I mean, I've had people come in where they hate their job and they hate their life. One session, go back and quit, and now they're living the life of their dreams. One session, the next day they quit, walked out of a job where they were making 6 figures, and now they're doing something that they love. Or, the ice cream truck lady, she's got 4 trucks, going to add on a 5th truck. Now she's, taking Washington by storm on these ice cream trucks. I work with C-suite executives. These are the guys who have already made the Rolex watches and they're wearing the leather penny loafers and, they have climbed the corporate ladder. They've made it and they're so unfulfilled. And they invest in 12 sessions with me and they say, I don't really understand what you did to my brain, but I'm so grateful because I never felt a more sense of purpose and joy than I ever have before in my life, because you're training me on mindset and what that looks like to stack joy. And I believe we can go from happiness to joy to bliss. And I live in my bliss. I really believe I'm living heaven on earth. I really believe that. So it's like, come on, let's go. We can create heaven on earth. What you focus on grows. Are you focusing on this news channel? No, we turn all that stuff off. We don't give time to that stuff, right? And I go back and I look at, and I can talk forever because I got more words than the Bible concordance, Shawna. But when I go back and I look at the root of all the things, it's like we were in tribes. We were in like little tribes. We didn't know what this tribe was doing in another state. We're not supposed to know until that horse came in, months later and say, hey, did you know about this tribe? We're not supposed to know all that stuff, right? I'm just concerned with what's under my roof, what's out in my community, how can I help and serve? And I just stay concerned with that because everything else is just outside of me and I can't control that.
Yeah, exactly. You hear of people getting so caught up in the little things that you can't control and that don't even matter. When did you realize your personal transformation needed to become your mission to help others?
When I realized I made it, because I wanted off planet Earth. I thought about suicide every day. And I don't know if you have kids, but when it's the most egregious crime to take children away from their mama and their dad too. I fight for dads, or let me be impeccable with my words. I don't fight anymore. I help dads, I help parents stay out of these systems. When I realized that my heart was aching and hurting and that I get to choose how I feel every single day, and that's a choice and that's a decision, I just did that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to feel better today. And I had that happen to me not yesterday, but the day before. I had a headache and I'm like, oh, I used to suffer from headaches, but I had a headache and I'm like, I don't feel so well. And then I asked myself, that's my next book, The Good Quality Questions. But I asked myself the good quality questions. Okay, you don't feel good. What are you doing to feel better? And I immediately said, nothing. Well, okay, no, you need to do something. So then I went and got a bottle of water, started drinking the water. And then I started moving my body. And then I went for a walk outside. So I'm doing all these things. What are you doing? Healing is in the doing. What are you doing to feel better? So you got to do something. You can't just sit there, and you got to be an active participant in your life. And so I take it down to small bite-sized chunks where people can digest it and be able to have some actionable items to start small, to get momentum to create bigger. So I knew once I made it, once I didn't commit suicide and be off planet Earth, and I believe suicide, like, the pain, here's what kept me, is that the pain didn't end. If I did that, it would just get transferred to my children. My children would say, what? Mom I didn't matter enough to my kids. The pain doesn't end. It gets transferred. So I knew I was committed and I had to stay. And that just because I made it, then, I got to teach. I got to preach. I got to show people they can be at the top of the mountain with me if they want it. But there's some people that they want to be sad. They want to be angry. And I'll tell them. I'll have a come to Jesus talk with them. Oh, you're still in an argument. Come back to me when you're ready for transformation. And they're going, what? Like burden shifting, right? They taught me this in law school. Oh no, you're not ready yet. Mm-mm. And they'll go, what? And then they'll, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Okay. All right. So are you ready or not?
Oh, I love your enthusiasm and everything about, like, you're so uplifting to listen to and to be around, and
Thank you.
Love the work that you're doing in the world. How can people get a hold of you?
Yes, I'm on all platforms. Tisha Marie Cain, Cain. Imagine that it's biblical. My own website's easier. You can go to appointments. I make things easy. I like the easy button. Go to appointments on my website, book and pay, and you're in. You have full access to my calendar. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to serve in bigger ways if you're ready to get going. And I just basically, Shawna, show you what's possible. Anything and everything that I have used the spoken word to get, I get what I want. I'm a little brat. I get everything I want because I choose to get what I want, and I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to get it because I'm going to work hard and get those things that mean the most to me. And we're taking off for Germany and Prague here in the next 4 days, and doing some book signings over there. And I'm like, I almost have to pinch myself because I'm like, yeah, this is, and I don't say anymore, like, I don't say, I can't believe it, because that clogs it up. I just say, yeah, no, it makes sense. It just makes sense now because I'm serving at bigger levels. I'm helping C-suite executives. I'm helping single moms. I'm helping people change their mindset to start changing their life.
Do you have a specific ideal client that you personally love to work with, or are you kind of just you said you were across the board, but personally, what's your fave?
My
Right.
favorite is these C-suite guys. These guys that are on the top of the corporate ladder and, they got tons of money and they don't know what to do. They don't even know the first nugget to start. And then I'm looking at them and teaching them how to leverage their assets and really tap into their joy and their fulfillment. I love that because they're so rigid in corporate America doing the grind that their consciousness is in a box. So I just like to blow their mind. Have you ever thought about this? I'm like, I don't want to overtake their consciousness, but just like blow their mind a little bit. They'll go, oh, why did she say that? Oh, wow. So those are my favorite. The corporate executives that have made it. And then they're like, now what? I'm like, all right, come on in. Let's get to work.
I love it. Okay. Tisha Marie Cain, such a joy to chat with you here today on Radical TV. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.